Last year for the San Andreas Mercenaries DLC, Rockstar decided as insult to injury for that insanely boring and lackluster DLC that was only carried by the release of the Raiju, to remove almost 200 cars from GTA Online, and to either drip feed a select few of those cars weekly, or just put them behind a GTA Plus paywall at the Vinewood Car Club, which brings us to today's video, that being best removed cars in GTA Online. Starting off the list, coming in at only $900,000, would be the Karen 190Z. Based on the real-life Datsun 240Z, this car on its own looks really nice. It has a nice interior for the price of just $900,000. The 190Z does have a good amount of customization, not as much as a Benny's car or a tuner's car, but it has more customizations than most cars that come out nowadays that cost over $2 million. There's a good amount of arch covers, bumpers, a lot of exhaust options, even exhaust coming out from the hood, a fair amount of hood options as well, some really nice livery options, and there's plenty of op for the spoiler also. Performance-wise, it has good acceleration, good traction. It's in the sports classic class, so you're not going to be winning a lot of races with this car. The handling of this car around corners, because of the wide rear, is a bit rough considering the weight of the rear. The top speed isn't that impressive, but honestly, for the price of just $900,000, I say this car is pretty much a steal for what it is. And if you know somebody with a 190Z, I'd for sure buy it off them at the LS Car Meet. Coming in at only $795,000 is the Entity XF. Based on the Koenigsegg CCX. There's only 3 entities in GTA Online, and to be honest, none of them are going to win you a lot of races at all, really. And they're all pretty limited when it comes to customizations. There's like 1 spoiler, 1 side skirt option, 1 diffuser. Keep in mind, this car came out in the launch of GTA 5, all the way back in 2013. And one thing I will say is back then, everybody wanted this car so badly, even before the Zentorno. I believe in 2013 this was the fastest car in the game until the release of the Zentorno a year later, and it was a lot cheaper than the Adder too. It's in the supercar class, and it's honestly really washed at this point, but the reason why I put it on this list is because it's a classic. Like I said before, this is one of the big 3 at launch for the supercar class in GTA Online, and it sucks that Rockstar removed it because this car itself actually looks nice, and I just wish that they gave it more customization options at least, like they did with the Zentorno a few years ago. But like I said before, the performance isn't that good, and you're not going to be winning a lot, if at all, any races, unless you want to make it like a themed race, like 2013 era cars, and sure, but this car just isn't that great when it comes to racing. I just like it for the commodity, I guess you could say. I like it for the fact that it's like a classic car in GTA, say, not classic real life, like it's a 1970s car. More or less, it's a classic car in the sense that this car came out at the launch of GTA 5 and now it's gone. I would recommend this car for sure if you have money to spend. And for just $700,000, that's not really expensive at all to today's standards. So I would for sure pick it up if I had a chance. Coming in at just $900,000 is the Paragon R, based on a 3rd gen Bentley Continental. The Paragon R has a nice amount of customizations with bumpers, exhausts, grills, hood options, roof options, liveries, skirts, spoilers. Although I don't care for the spoilers on this kind of car, the options are there. As for performance, this car has a great acceleration and has great handling as well. Even without spoilers, this car does have great traction. The Paragon R is a sports car, so it's not touching the big 3 sports cars, that being the Pariah, the Italy RSX, or the Italy GTO. But this is, however, one of the fastest cars around a track in the sports car class. So maybe you have a chance at winning a sports car race if nobody's using the big 3 cars. And for the value of this car being just $900,000, it's a great car to pick up. And if you have a friend who owns this car, I'd for sure ask them to sell it to you at the LS Car Meet. Up next, coming in at a whopping $2.3 million, is the Ocelot XA21, based on the Jaguar X75. Surprisingly, Rockstar removed this car, which is crazy considering you think Rockstar to splurge on shark cards to buy this car. And to me, this is one of the best looking supercars in the game. There's a nice amount of customization to this car, with bumpers, diffusers, engine blocks, exhausts, grills, hoods, mirrors, skirts, and I low-key wish this car came with liveries, but unfortunately it doesn't. Performance-wise, it does have a good handling, it has good acceleration, good top speed at 125 miles per hour, and what I really like about this car is that it has an active spoiler, much like the Progen T20. I'd say for the price of this car and what it is, and what it has to offer, it's a great car to have. It's not going to win you a lot of races, but I would say this car is pretty good to use in free mode. Now, in order to get the Comet Retro Custom, you have to already own the original Comet for $100,000, and then pay the $745,000 conversion fee at Benny's. So in total, it's about a $800,000 car to turn into the Comet Retro Custom. And honestly, it's unfortunate they removed this car, because I'd say this is a must-have Benny's car. It's based on the Porsche 964, and it's just a gorgeous car, and it looks damn near a one-to-one carbon copy of the real-life counterpart. And as for most Benny's cars, this car has a large amount of customizations. With bumpers, you can customize the engine bay, exhaust, fenders, hood options, the interior, liveries, skirts, spoilers. If you're ever in our Comet Retro Custom meet, nobody's going to have the same exact looking car as yours. Everybody's going to have a very different looking Comet Retro Custom. As for performance for the Comet Retro Custom, the acceleration is great, and it's also pretty fast. Unfortunately, for some godforsaken reason, Rockstar put this car in the sports class instead of the sports classic class, considering this car is like a 1970s, 1980s car. So I guess that makes sense to Rockstar. So pretty much this car is a set up for failure when it comes to racing. Because like I said earlier, if it's not the Pariah, the Italia RSX, or the Italia GTO, you're basically cooked when it comes to sports races. But it's still a nice car to drive, and I recommend it for sure. And to me, I think that this is my favorite Comet or Porsche in GTA. Lastly, coming in at $975,000 would be the Sterling GT, based on the Mercedes 300 SLR. And it's such a nice looking car. First off, this car does have HSW if you're on next gen, which just makes this car just super fast. But customization wise for this car, there isn't an insane amount of customization, but for the price of this car, I don't mind that there's not a lot of customizations. It does have a lot of hood options, liveries, but there's not a lot of spoiler options. And there's some roll cages you can choose from. Now, before I talk about the performance of this car, I have to say this car probably is the best sounding car in the game. So I'll just go ahead and stop yapping and let you guys listen to it. Now for performance, keep in mind, I don't have HSW on this car, so for those of you on PC and last gen, I wanted to be fair for you guys and show what the car is like without HSW. The Sterling GT is considered one of the fastest sports classic cars, and it has really great traction. The handling just feels, it sticks to the ground like really good. So I do recommend this car for sports classic races. So like I said before, like every other car on this list, if you know somebody who owns this car, 100% I recommend buying it off them at the LS Car Meet. Now it's a shame that these cars have been removed from the game. That's just Rockstar being greedy as per usual. A lot of these cars are pretty popular in the community, so that sort of debunks the lie that they wanted to get rid of the lesser used vehicles. But a lot of the cars on this list were less than $1 million, so to me I feel like Rockstar wanted to condition new players to spend $1.5 million on cars with mid performances and customization to justify charging us $2 million for decent cars. But if you guys did go on enjoy this video, like and comment would be appreciated. Subscribe new to the channel. We just hit 1,000 subscribers, and I want to see if we can hit maybe 2,000 by the end of this year. But yeah, with all that out of the way, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, everybody.